Hello, world of YouTube. I greatly apologize for being quite so long since my last video. In between work and a family visit, personal time has been at an all-time low for me. First, a couple of positives. I actually just recently got my first subscriber. Much appreciated. Uh, I actually subscribed to her channel in return. I figured it was the least I could do. So for you, Jesse Payton, much appreciated. Hopefully there will be many more who follow you. In this video, I'm going to go for another topic on religion. This has been weighing relatively heavy on my mind for a couple days, so I figured best to give it a shot. This one deals with the idea of what is creation. Now, I work relatively closely with a guy who is a young Earth creationist. For anyone who doesn't know, young Earth creationists take the idea that the Bible is literal. If it said, Moses lived 963 years, well, then that's what he lived. If the earth formed in 7 days, well, 6 with a rest day, that's literal. So they take all the actual numbered accounts in the Bible of how old people were, what times things occurred, etc., and then they start from today, and they work the math backwards, which gives them roughly, I believe it's about 6,000 years, maybe a little more or less. My math on the subject isn't that great. But they rationalize that since the Bible is the Word of God, that therefore if it said that, one man lived 512 years, well, then that's accurate. And the Bible begins with creation, so therefore if you simply do the math, you'll get how old the earth is. As I said, I work close to a guy who is a young Earth creationist and thus believes that. And that's fine, despite the fact that I personally think it's a little insane, but to each his own. The idea of it, though, it's always been said that, man was formed in the image of God, and, everything basically goes from there. Let's look at that idea for a second, though. If you think about what man is, from a survival standpoint on our own, we don't survive all that well. I live here in Montana, and it gets rather cold in the winter. I can let my dog outside, and he stays pretty good for quite a long period of time. Whereas, biologically speaking, I am not equipped to survive in that kind of weather. I will quickly grow cold, getting into those stages of hypothermia, and then potentially die in maybe a few hours, especially if I have about 0 coverings on in the dead of winter. Of course, adding in the wind chill and etc. So if, from a creation standpoint, if man is the high point, I would be quite fearful to see the low point. You may occasionally notice that I squint whatnot. It's because I actually normally wear glasses, and the reflection of the monitor makes it rather hard to see. So, from a creation standpoint, my eyes are not even that good. Granted, I can see a multitude of colors, but that doesn't really help with the fact that without technology and advancement, evolutionarily speaking, I would be kind of on the short end. I'm nearsighted, so anything far away I wouldn't be very good at, so from a hunting standpoint, I might not be all that good. On average, I believe the current height average is about 6 feet, maybe a little more for men. Yet, there are a great many other animals which are much larger and much better suited for their environments. And granted, we do appear to be about the only species on the planet that can freely move from one environment to the other without serious repercussions. But if we were limited in the same way that normally animals are, without the ability of technology to move them from one continent to another, we don't really seem to be suited for anything but warm weather. anything past that without the aid of our brains and society, we appear to be on the losing end of that battle. I mean, our hearing is decent. There are many other animals with much better hearing. So you would think that from a creator standpoint, your ultimate creation should indeed have the best of everything that you have to offer them. Our sense of taste is decent, not amazing, but I mean, there are animals with far worse tastes. Sense of smell, the same. You know, strength-wise, we appear to just kind of run the middle of the road for most of everything. So, I mean, if I was trying to create a jack-of-all-trades animal, if I had the power of creation, I would go for something like humanity. You know, not exactly the best at anything biologically speaking, but, you know, good enough to survive. You know, if you add in the brain, well, then that takes it to a whole nother level. But to be given the power of creation, to hold nothing in my hand and just go, and have it become whatever I desire, man is not what I would have invented. I mean, you watch science fiction movies like The Island of Dr. Moreau, those creatures appear to be far more developed and survivable in their jungle home that they were on for the movie, most likely in other environments, simply because they take the best of both worlds. They take the best of, you know, animals and whatnot and combine it with, you know, people's intelligence. Perhaps not their humanity, but their intelligence nonetheless. So I find it hard to believe that from a religion standpoint that they could look at mankind with, honestly, our numerous imperfections and failings and simply go, we're the pinnacle. Anything that created us, we were the goal, we were the end-all product for it, which is silly, honestly. There's just nothing that would make me believe that, even if I was a religious man. There are lots of things that are better suited for this planet than we are, and yet, if it wasn't for our brains, we wouldn't have been at the top. So, it concerns me that creationists and religious people in general can look at mankind and go, this was obviously what God intended. Us. With our run-of-the-mill digestion system, our only now decent lifespan, aside from not accounting for the fact that, you know, man apparently lived hundreds and hundreds of years in the past. If you only go by recorded history, or lifespan is only now decent. So, to believe in a creator who, with the power to do anything at all, would stack your best creation as, not the best, but I've done worse, either smacks of laziness, or if you go the untapped potential route, that we kind of got a lot of stacked deck in our favor, but we just haven't figured out how to use it yet. Which therefore, of course, also begs the question that if that is indeed the case, what do you have to do to unstack the deck? If we're supposed to evolve and develop, from the point of creation to become better and become this, say, ultimate intended creation, it seems to have the drawback of the fact that the farther along we get, the less we seem to believe and rely upon the idea of a creator, which would then seem to move in that realm of perhaps that's not the best plan to go. If you start us out at the top, And this is even taking into account the idea that, we were at some point of perfection, and the Garden of Eden happened, and we lost it. Take that into account even so. That would say that in addition to God being so upset at us for giving us, in essence, loaded dice with the Garden of Eden, that he left us in this current form, which without our need for society and our need to learn and develop our brain, we're dead. Now, if you look at it from, say, like the standpoint of like my cats, they learn a little things, in being indoor cats, how to use the litter box, where the food is put. But most animals, most likely my cats included, if thrown to the wild, they'll survive. There's no huge change that they need to go through, or massive new talents or knowledge they need to gain in order to continue to exist. Whereas a lot of mankind's not really honestly the case. At least not anymore. I of course have a feeling that way far back in the day, if you got ostracized from the tribe and all that, you had a pretty decent chance of surviving. Decent as their odds went. But anymore, I don't think so. And that's either a result of our enhancement with technology, or perhaps it's a societal downfall of our need and desire for groups and technology. That's actually quite a good question. But back to the my original point and question of what is creation? What is it? If given the ability to create anything, and the universe in general, why create it so, and really haphazardly? You create the laws of physics and the requirements for our own solar system, and it's at this point pretty much an understood fact that without the moon, we wouldn't have the tides, and without the tides, we really wouldn't have life on this planet. So you created the universe and set up your home base planet of your created, top of the line species, and ensured that you gave them a moon to help create, all the things that they need after they develop. And then you intentionally set up this moon so that one day it will leave orbit. Now, granted, this won't happen until after the sun goes red giant and kills us anyway. But you set up the laws of physics so that we're losing the thing that is helping to keep us alive on our own planet. You then add in the fact that we pretty much require a couple large gas giants in our solar system to keep rogue asteroids and comets from killing us. But instead, if you've created everything, it seems to be far simpler to just not put the asteroids and comets on collision courses with your creation. And then you add in, if we're happen to be in the path of a supernova or a gamma ray burst, we die. You pretty much set up the universe to kill us at any moment in time, half the time when we wouldn't even be able to detect it before it happened. But then you go, we're made in your image, and we're it. We're the be-all, end-all. And yet, really every day, we're just lucky enough not to roll snake eyes and the cosmic dice and die. From a creating standpoint, that really seems kind of half-assed and lazy. Agree, disagree. I honestly welcome all comments. If you question this or my ideas, by all means, please let me know. until I get hundreds of comments or anything of the like, I will gladly answer every single one of them. And I will try to do more videos as time permits, because for like the 15, 20 people that watch it so far, I hope you enjoyed them. I enjoy doing them, despite my low-tech knowledge of YouTubery. So that concludes this one for what is creation. I do have quite a few other ideas rattling around in my head, and I'll bring those to you as well. And before I forget, a little bit of shameless plugging on my part. Here in a second, you'll notice a link appearing right here in this good old forehead region to a new company that I'm involved in. Quick shout out, by all means, go visit, see if you like it or not. If you want, and provide me with your address or P.O. box or anything of that nature, I will gladly send you free samples. See if you like it. It's a new energy drink. Apparently it's quite common back east. It's called Verve by a company that its parent company is Vima. Good stuff. A friend of mine convinced me to give it a shot. I invested in the company. I really like it. Good stuff. Good taste. No more expensive than like buying Rockstars and Monsters and everything else. And I honestly think it tastes better. Like I said, there'll be that nice link there in my forehead region. Give it a shot. Like I said, if you provide me with some info, I'll gladly send you some free samples. Alright, you guys have a great night, and I'll see you later.